Hello, you beautiful people, you. I have the best YouTube subscribers on the whole internet. Bronze casting, especially lost wax bronze casting, patience all the way. If you don't have patience, check it out. So what have I been working on for the last month? A lot of failures. Total patience. I have some friends of mine that I work for, and they own a very large ranch here in Texas. And I found their cattle brand online and decided to replicate it into a bronze art piece by using this hemp rope and invested it directly into the investment material, into the ceramic shell, and then took and burned it out and cast it. And this is basically what the piece will look like. It worked, but it didn't at the same time. It didn't quite get what I was looking for. Should it work? Absolutely, it should work. Whether or not, if it was not enough burnout time, maybe. I was left with some voids, so forget going direct to that. Next thing I tried, I took the actual rope itself and covered it with wax and decided to take and make a silicone mold of this, like so. The wax coating on here kept the silicone from sticking to it, or else you end up with real disasters trying to take it off, and everything just rips and breaks. So this is the first wax pull out of this mold, and it did work. It was going to require a whole lot of cleanup, and I wasn't really happy with it. So that's number two. Number three, we tried, and this actually worked. You saw in the last video I was messing around with an extruder. Well, I took that extruder and extruded Sculpey into something that looked like a rope, added a lot of details to it, and then proceeded to make a silicone mold of that. I don't have any of the Sculpey pieces here because they usually break when you take them out of this because they're kind of brittle. If you're doing a lot of cooking, I guess. I'm not the best at running Sculpey, so watch the old ladies and the young girls mess with Sculpey. This was a wax pull that came out of it, and with a little bit of details ultimately later on added to them to kind of start to mimic the look that we were going after. This is what we ended up with. So these were the molds, and I pulled out a pair of decent usable waxes and took and invested them. And that's where you're going to pick up today, and we're going to do the bronze pouring here very shortly. So here we can see a couple of the ceramic shells just about ready to head into the fire. This piece is actually what I want the sides of this. These are going to be the poles that this art piece is going to be mounted on, and bronze will come in down to the bottom and then fill up through the sides. And that one's pretty vanilla, pretty straightforward. Now, the actual cattle branding themselves, both of them are on here, so there's actually 4, 5, 6 usable pieces, hopefully, when we break it out. There's one of the circles, the other one lives on the other side, and then we can see there's our half moon there, and in the other one. I still don't know exactly how you would pronounce this this cattle brand. Cattle brands have a way of being pronounced. I think this one might be swinging O, maybe. And also those two tiny little half circles laying right up inside the main sprue. I'm kind of hoping that those are going to work. That's my plan on attaching the top and the bottom of the cattle brand together, is going to be cutting and utilizing those two pieces laid aside. Let's get the furnace fired up and let's get this thing rolling. It's time to pour some bronze. I got stuff to do. This has been a long project, and I am glad to see it finished. It's really been a lot of fun. Before I close this thing completely off, I want to say a couple of thank yous to a couple of folks here, starting with Jason Michael Kotarski. He has a preservation, restoring, and planning business up in Washington, and I will post a link to his YouTube channel. And let's get this guy casting bronze. He's very, very talented. I've seen some of the woodwork he does. I'd like to say thank you to Jason for sending out the polishing discs. They work great on the granite pieces. Next on the list would be Ian in Scotland. I appreciate the music, brother. He's the one that did the very first tune in this, called Same Old BS. And then second person on the list would be Mr. Gorman. Also, he's known as Gore. And the second song featured in the video is called Yes. Both of those guys can be found over on SoundCloud. I'll drop some links somewhere here, there, wherever. But let's take a look at the piece, and let's get you guys out of here. This video is running way long enough as it is. I really hope that the father and son team that are getting a pair of these really enjoy them. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and a few tears along the way. It's my interpretation of your cattle brand. And this is the final piece. That is a hot liver of sulfur patina. And then it is sealed in with a typical wax in a very, very traditional bronze finish. And the goal was to not make this thing super, super dark, as sometimes bronze has a tendency to be dark. And didn't want to give it a whole lot of bling, but somewhere in the middle. Here is a photo you can take a peek at, and that's actually what it looks like out in the sunlight, and it looks pretty good. So the bronze pieces are attached to the base with a screw. And there is actually some JB weld around this to help keep this thing from spinning. You can only put so much torque on the granite before you take and break it into two. And that's it. So we are finished with this project. Put another one in the bag, and we're going to see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.